Welcome back to Live at the Roxy. As we're hearing that playback on that, is that coming from me, from you? I never know.
That was us.
It's coming from, is it me? It's over here too. This is the thing. I always don't mute one thing and then another thing. It's just such a pro show here. Welcome back, friends. And I'm glad I am with friends during my mess up of the sound, because Alex and Mollie Damon are in the house coming over from Schmoedown and Star Wars Explained. Hey guys, a big day on this show today, but the number one reason it's a big day is because you guys are with us. It's nice when I'm sweet. Yeah. Well, the Snyder Cut's a big deal too, and I guess Ruby Rose leaving her show is also a big deal, and the fact that we're starting a Star Wars tournament today that one of you guys is competing in and gave me a hard turn down, but it's okay. We love her anyway. So a ton to talk about, but you said something right before we went live that I wanted to ask you guys about, because I don't know if you know that for the last month and a half on my show, how does it do that? How does it start when I mute it? It's like Alexa. She just turns on all the time. I have been building Legos recently for the first time in my life.
Really? First time ever?
I've never built Legos before, and I built a friend's Lego set that I think would have taken a 5-year-old like maybe an hour, and it took me maybe 25 hours. I mean, it was crazy. I've learned something about myself, which is that I suck at Legos, but you guys are currently building Legos, and I'm guessing a lot better than I am at it. What are you guys working on, and is this something that you guys frequent?
Well, I mean, like you, I never really built Legos growing up, but then like we'll build them together. But for the most part, he's doing the building. I look at the page and figure out what I need to organize, and then I pick out all the pieces and just help him.
Wait, so you look at the page, then you gather everything, and then he builds?
Yeah.
I feel like I need a partner in crime for the Lego process. It's too challenging. Like if you listened to, I did it on air, and every other word I was like, fuck, get the, like I couldn't stop swearing. I was so frustrated. And also, you know that orange tool that gets some of the Legos off?
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't work. I need one of you guys to show me how to use that. So I switched over to a knife.
That probably works better.
It worked very well, except it's a little bit of a dangerous process. But how far along are you guys on this? Are you starting a new set, or it's towards the end of it?
We just started the Lego A-Wing that came out recently. Before that, we built the Tantive 4, and before that, we built Vader's Castle. So we got to give props to Ken Knapsack. We were watching him do a Lego live stream, and Mollie was like, "That's a great idea.
Yeah,
let's steal that. That's ours now."
We stole that from Ken.
So,
where do you guys put them when you're done?
You can see some of them
back here,
back up on our shelf back there. But like the one we just built is, you can kind of see it poking out behind my chair. Like it's on my piano right now. we're running out of space.
You play the piano?
Mm-hmm.
How are you? Pretty good. I feel like you're good at everything you do.
I used to be. I'm very out of practice now. I play when I feel like it, when I get a chance. It's just something to do that's relaxing. I used to like take lessons and compete, but that was a long time ago.
There's a couple of go-to songs that you're pretty good at.
Yeah. There's a few songs I can play very well, and that's it.
What's the go-to?
Some stuff from the Battlestar Galactica soundtrack.
That's what we were just saying too. Battlestar. I need to get into it. I need like a whole list of ultimate shows that I have to watch, and then I have to figure out how to make time for it. I guess quarantine would be a good time. Mollie, do you play piano or any instrument?
No, I used to play the violin, and I played it for years. But
in school?
Yeah. And I was pretty good, and then I hit college, and I was like, I have to choose like either be a professional musician or like go to college and pass all my classes. So
were you thinking about being a professional musician? Was that a dream when you were younger?
No, but like all my teachers were like, you could get there with practice. And I was like, I don't want to.
I recently have been very, I don't even want to say that I'm going to do it, because I don't like to say that until I'm positive, but I'm intrigued by the thought of learning to play guitar. During quarantine, I have all these friends, I don't know if you guys are the same way, that are picking things up. They're like, oh, look at me grabbing this new hobby. And I'm like, I could be a person with a hobby. And that hobby could be guitar. But I will say I attempted the other day to just like hold a guitar. Literally, that was the full attempt. Like, can I hold this? And I can't even do that. I don't even know how to hold a guitar. I was watching a video on it. And also, I have really small hands and I'm a small person. So I'm kind of nervous about it. And they say that a better instrument for my little hands is piano. But I feel like, how does one learn to play piano without buying a whole piano? Like, that is such a major investment. And I don't even know where I'd put it in my apartment.
Yeah, keyboards aren't cheap.
Yeah.
We've got one in his office, but yeah.
No instruments are cheap. They're all life is expensive. Hobbies are expensive. Okay, so much to break down today. So much to talk about. Speaking of today, yes, the Star Wars tournament is starting today. Alex, are you feeling happy and lucky that you are not playing in the Star Wars tournament right now, or are you kind of jealous of all the competitors that get to do some Star Wars nerding out?
I think I'm feeling a little left out. I mean, I know I have to just sit and wait. I'm the big boss at the end, but I like to play.
And Molly, how are you feeling?
I'm feeling pretty good. I'm really, really excited to watch the match today and to also play again.
I have to say, so I told everybody very openly that I made a hard push for Molly to come be a rock star. I sent her novels on novels, but she didn't end up going with us. And I will say, I think that if you were not going to go with the rock stars, you did it in the most classy way you possibly could have. I love the way you handled the situation, and you didn't like drag it out for me or let me think that you were going to do something you weren't. A lot of other people, Sabrina, I'm looking at you, we're kind of playing this strategy thing. Like, I'm not going to let anybody know. But what was your decision process like? Can you talk a little bit about it? Because I know that there are so many managers coming after you.
Yeah, I don't know. The way I told Christian, I was like, Sam was pretty charming over email.
He's a charming dude.
Yeah, he is.
Didn't he email you first, like before?
He did. Well, I don't want to get anybody in trouble, but he did contact me before I knew anything about what was going on. And I was like, oh.
No, I don't think that gets him in trouble. I think we were allowed to contact free agents at any point after the draft. So that's fine. He was a future seer on that. What was the real selling point? Just, did he say anything, promise anything, teach anything?
No.
You just kind of like the energy?
Yeah, I feel bad saying that there wasn't anything specific that made me go with them other than just competition between the two of us.
I think that was because we were talking about it when Christian was like, hi, people are going to contact you and like, just think about what you want to do. And we thought story-wise, having that like we're on different teams or factions made it a little more interesting. But
this is the first time Sam is being a manager, is that correct?
Yes. Yeah.
So I was like, this could be interesting. Let's see how he does.
I went on backstage and they asked me this week how I felt about you guys communicating with each other and helping each other study for Star Wars. And I was like, well, there's not much I can say or do. They're life partners, business partner, like everything. They live together. Like, what am I going to do? Put my foot down? But I actually realized I don't know to what extent you guys do together. And this is the first, well, not the first time, but this is one of the first times that you guys are really like, we have factions and this is a battle of the Damons and you're going up against each other. What is the conversation like in your guys' house about this? Now, are you watching Star Wars in separate rooms? Are you taking notes separately? Are you still quizzing each other? Like, how does that all work?
Every time I walk into a room, she quickly shuts off The Empire Strikes Back.
We watch things together, but like, he doesn't take notes anymore. He doesn't have to. So I'm taking my own notes, which I've done countless times before and then used to quiz him. So I'm trying to pick out different things that I maybe hadn't noticed before, like really little stuff, and just writing as much down as I can and then going over that by myself.
Alex, what do you think are Mollie's chances in this tournament?
Good.
Okay, solid.
I mean, I think they're better than even she thinks they are. I'll say that.
Probably true.
I think that you have a tendency to underestimate yourself, Mollie. I definitely believe that. And I'm excited to see what you do here, but I'm also excited to see what Josh Quevedo does. Obviously, Alex, we didn't think we were going to have another Star Wars player on our team, but based on how everything shook out, we needed somebody in this tournament. And by luck of the trades, we ended up with Josh Quevedo. This is not somebody that you've interacted much with, but I want to know, from faction mate to faction mate, it's going to be his first time competing in the Schmoedown. Any tips, any tricks, anything that you could tell him if he's watching now to keep a cool head, or anything that you feel like he should know?
Yeah, just don't rush. Really listen to the question, because there are a lot of things in Star Wars where, depending on the movie, the answer is different for the exact same question. So, like, just make sure you're paying attention to the details that are asked, but take a breath. I don't know. I try to think of it as a competition for myself more than anything, that, like, I'm just trying not to brain fart. I try not to think about how the other people are doing. It's like, this is just me trying to do my best, and that, I don't know, feels like a little less pressure. Just try not to disappoint yourself.
This is what he said to me when I was asking him about all of the matches, because I keep sending him tape and having him do it, play along, and he's probably watched, like, I don't know, so many of these matches now. I mean, I just keep sending them, but I said, how are you stacking up against the other players? He said, and this is my Quevedo voice, he kind of sounds like a little bit of a surfer dude, just kind of a little chiller. So he's like, I do really well. I'm beating everybody, except there's this one dude. There's this one dude who's just really good. And I was like, is it Alex Damon? He's like, yeah, that guy is so good. I was like, yeah, that's a good problem for us to have. He's your faction mate. So good problems to have if you take it all away. And then this is a rockstar match. I want to get to some of these questions in here, though, because John Campbell says, Alex, if you were going to play Sam Witwer tomorrow, who would be favored? This seems to be a question that comes up often. What do you think?
I think it'd be pretty split. I mean, I've played more matches than Sam. I think he's done, I think he's done 4, right? He did one with Freddie Prinze Jr. He did the Orlando match, the Fatal 5-Way, and the Iron Man match. So he's had 4 matches. I do have more matches under my belt. I think I know the rules a little bit better. But I think people would be split on it. I'd hope that I'd be favored, because I think I've proven myself by this point. I think people know that I can beat Sam. I think I can beat Sam.
How important is knowing the rules, as you just mentioned that? Do you feel like that really gives competitors an edge if they know the game better?
Well, yeah. I mean, I think Sam slipped up a couple times, especially in the speed round. I don't think he realized that once you buzz in, like, you don't get repeats.
Yeah,
you need to know it within 2 seconds. Yeah. Little things like that made him lose a point here or there. Like in that Iron Man match, it's not a huge difference in score that he would have had, but I think there's something to be said about just being comfortable with the rules and knowing what's going on all over the place.
Yeah, I messed up at Celebration and just forgot that I could do multiple choice in the second round, and I could have probably gotten that question if I had remembered that.
It's
that was
hard.
It was my first time playing, and it was live.
You're
and
live, and there's so many people. Yeah, it's a huge event. I mean, like, I think you can know the game really well, and even some of the players who know it best, like, you forget how many times you've said JTE rule, and you know, and if you went to multiple choice, but then all of a sudden you spaced, you weren't listening to the answers. Do you want to repeat the whole thing? I mean, there's so many different caveats to it, but I do agree with both of you guys that the rules are very important. I think that's what makes this not just like bar trivia. There's so many different caveats. Staying in the super chat for a second, Billy Polahan says, just wanted to say, hope y'all are having a great day. You guys are the best. That's very sweet. I guess I'll turn that into a question. Are you guys having a great day? How's your day going?
Pretty good so far. It's not a billion degrees outside, which is nice.
Yeah.
Has it been there? Has it been really hot there?
Hot.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't know why in my mind, this is the very self-centered part of me. Everybody lives in LA time. There's only one time and it is Pacific time. So I have sent you guys like so many 2 a.m. text messages for you. I'm like,
we're up.
God.
Usually awake.
You guys respond. I'm like, okay, that's my kind of people.
We're night owls, I think.
Me too.
Especially now.
I can't go to sleep before 4 now. Until I see the sun, I'm not closing my eyes. So many questions came in from the Patreon for you guys, and I want to get to some of these. Also, before we talk about all DC craziness, LK in here says, I love how inclusive the Damons are with any kind of Star Wars fan. So thank you for that. Did your family introduce you to Star Wars growing up? And how did your love for Star Wars grow into what it is today? Thanks for being on Roxy's show.
Yes. Well, thank you, first of all. And my dad introduced me to Star Wars when I was 7 or 8 after I just saw someone dressed as Darth Vader and was like, who's that? Like, I need to know what that's about. And
that was during the Olympics, right?
During or right before the Olympics.
When it was in Atlanta.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow. And Molly, for you?
I think pretty much the same. Like, my dad just bought the movies and I was like, oh, what are these? And then I remember watching them, not like all in one day, but maybe all in one week, maybe. And I was like, okay, I like those. Those were okay. And then like, I don't know, I didn't become a super hardcore fan until later in life.
When do you think? When was the hardcore fandom?
Probably when I met him.
That'll do it.
I mean, I think it was 2012 when I started competing at Dragon Con.
Yeah.
And
when I realized his level of knowledge of not just Star Wars trivia, but Lord of the Rings and any movie trivia period, I was like, wow, like I want to know more about this.
It's an interesting skill set to have. And I think you kind of go one of two ways. Like, you want to know more. When I see somebody have so much trivia, I get so discouraged because I'm like, I could never do that. My brain just doesn't operate that way. But it's interesting that both of your brains seem to operate exactly that way. Which I
think that I would be able to. Like, if you'd asked me 10 years ago if I would ever compete in Star Wars trivia, I'd be like, absolutely not. There's no way I could remember any of that stuff.
And then last year at Dragon Con, you got the alternate certificate.
I got a runner-up, which for me at Dragon Con trivia is fantastic. It's ridiculously hard, and now I'm in the Schmoedown.
This is my round of applause for you. That's pretty amazing. Speaking of Star Wars stuff, though, Glenn says, Alex and Molly, if you could each pick any force ability, so light side or dark side, including those in Legends, or non-Star Wars related superpowers, what would each of your choices be?
Someone asked me that yesterday while I was streaming, and I was playing,
no way.
Yeah, I was playing Fallen Order, and I think honestly I would just choose Force Pull to be lazy, because sometimes the remote's over there and you just want to be like, eh.
Yeah.
I love that one. I feel like that all the time. Like, just come on. I don't want to get up. Do it. Just get to me.
I mean, if we're including non-Star Wars stuff, I mean, flying. Come on.
That's a debate in Star Wars. I think you can fly with the Force. I think you can do that.
You can jump like really, really high and far.
I think in theory you could make yourself fly, but it's not safe.
Yeah.
Wait, let's see what this is, because Salad says, it's funny calling somebody Salad. Salad says, FYI, there's a glitch with the stream somehow because the Damon's voices are super lower than normal. Sounds like they are using voice modulation to make them deeper. I hear you guys perfectly, but when we started, remember I said to turn it up, but then you did. And now I hear you perfect. Everybody let us know. Can you hear them great? Or can you not? Let us know so that we know.
I want to know how I sound deeper.
I always I have the deepest, this is me all the time. And then when I get tired, I go like this. So you probably would just sound like me. Oh, they say, everybody else is saying it sounds great to them. So, all right. I guess we solved that problem pretty quick. Douglas says, hey, Mollie and Alex, hope you guys are staying healthy in Atlanta. And I can't wait to see Mollie in the Schmoedown. My question is, Alex, how long do you spend studying leading up to a match? And also, I need to ask a Star Wars question. So do you guys have a favorite character from any of the new movies? So first things first, how long are you studying?
I don't know. I mean, it's...
You don't keep track of all the hours?
Well, it feels like it's one of those things where anytime like we get in the car, well, when we used to get in the car and go places, I would just like give Mollie my phone and be like, here's my list of questions and just quiz me while I drive. So it's kind of just whenever we have free time, but also like my job is to study in a way.
Yeah.
It's always kind of on my mind. So I don't know exactly how to quantify that. I would say
we're doing at least probably 30 minutes to an hour a day. Just on when we take the dog on a walk, we quiz each other on. I'm quizzing him on like IG stuff, and he'll quiz me on Star Wars stuff.
I mean, I think it's more than that. Like, yes, we do have kind of a set, hey, let's just do this while we walk the dog now. But it's also just kind of a random throughout the day. Like, we got some time to kill. Let's ask some questions.
There are some people in the Schmoedown who say that studying doesn't really make a difference. And then there are some people who swear by it. Are you guys people who swear by it?
It absolutely makes a difference.
I think for Star Wars, yes, because it gets to be so particular, and there's only a certain set of movies for Star Wars. Like studying for IG is so much more overwhelming, I think, because there's so many movies. But Star Wars, you can just watch all the movies, maybe watch them all twice, take notes, and then try to remember everything.
I mean, there's been matches that I have not been a part of where I'm like a lot less sure of myself because I haven't been studying for that match. But anytime I know I have a match coming up, I study for it.
And what about the characters? Any favorite characters in the newer movies?
I mean, Kylo Ren's my top character in the new movies.
Yeah, I'll say Rey. pretty standard answered.
Pretty great ones, though. I think that they're standard for a reason. Weston says, hashtag Molixy time. They always try to make my guests and me have a ship name. So I guess that's Mollie, Alex, Roxy, Moloxy time. Some of us possess a particular set of skills. What are your most random skills?
Does this Star Wars trivia count?
No.
I do think that's a pretty random skill. So,
Guitar Hero? I'm really good at Guitar Hero.
Oh, I am too.
All right.
Well,
steal my thing.
Only because you taught me how.
That's a pretty good one.
What am I good at?
You're good at just like making up jingles and songs on the spot.
Oh, really?
Also, I'm good at recognizing people's voices who voice like cartoon characters.
That's true.
Mollie, I want a jingle. I need a rock star jingle.
I'll get back to you on that.
Okay, keep me posted.
It's more just the, like while she's doing dishes and stuff.
Like, I hear you. F James 72 says, I'm behind, but holy shit, I was in the Atlanta during the Olympics. I remember kids selling water bottles, $4 a bottle. And let's not forget the Macarena. I'm old. $4 a bottle when the Olympics were in Atlanta. Yeah.
96.
Yeah.
It's a lot for now.
It's $4 a bottle of water. It's crazy. But that does happen now. I don't remember then $4, but I guess it's the Olympics. So there's that. Thanks, Weston, for reminding people to hit that like button, or the Damon's Darth dogs will find you. Yeah, that's right. They'll come and find you during this time. Very true. Let's go back into the Patreon. Andrew Romanello says, "Hi, Molly and Alex. Quick question. Oh no, I'm not going to be able to read this, guys. Do you think that the costume of the elite Praetorian Guard was too red? I think visually they would have looked nicer if there was a black trim included in the design. Can you guys translate that for me?
Praetorian Guard.
Yeah, you got it.
What's a elite Praetorian Guard?
So the red guys that are in Snoke's room.
Oh,
they fight.
Oh,
they are very red.
They're very red, but I like it.
They do have like a red, I don't know, body sock underneath, or black. I'm sorry. I don't know why they didn't. Like, yeah, I think a little black here and there would have looked cool, but I think they were probably just maybe trying to distinguish them a little bit from the Imperial Royal Guard, who they had like the black visor, but
I don't think that they had the Sith troopers in mind by then, but maybe it was to differentiate them from them.
Yeah, I guess just Rian Johnson, he was all about red in that movie. There's so like the red curtain, especially with Snoke and all the First Order stuff.
Yeah.
Ben Rayner says, fave character from each trilogy. Face character from shows. Mine are 1, Obi-Wan, 2, Luke, 3, Rey, 4, Maul. What do you guys think?
Each trilogy.
From the prequels, I will also say Obi-Wan. I think he just, Ewan McGregor seems like he's having so much fun the whole time he's playing Obi-Wan. There's a reason everyone's like, we have to have that Kenobi show.
Do you guys know that Hayden Christensen is my favorite? This is why I can't talk Star Wars. I don't understand what everybody else is talking about. I think he's perfect in the prequels. I like
him a lot.
I think he's flawless. I love his performance. I love his character. I don't understand people's qualms with it. What about you, Molly?
I'll go Padme, I guess. I think she was really good in the prequels. I wish she had more to do, but I liked her.
What about the original? Oh no, you guys did. Okay, so Padme Obi-Wan. Yeah, you just did the prequels. What about in the original trilogy?
Leia.
I mean, I gotta go Biggs. I can't not at this point.
And what about? Oh, you guys kind of did from the new.
Yeah,
I'm assuming.
I'm picking all the women.
Rey and Kylo. What does face character from shows mean?
I think he means fave.
Oh. Okay, so fave character from show. What's your fave character from the show?
Ahsoka.
I do love Maul. I like Maul was such a surprise for me because when they said we're going to bring him back to life, I was like, why? No, stupid, awful. And then he turned into like this incredibly compelling character. So I do like Maul a lot.
Baby Yoda.
Yeah, of course you'd say. Is he a character yet though?
Yes, he is. And he has a name. We just don't know what it is. Any guesses?
We're starting a Baby Yoda collection back here.
You could just literally go like this. It'd be right on your hand. Do you guys have any guesses what the name is?
I hope it starts with a Y.
With a Y. I honestly hope they don't name it because I feel like
I thought that they said that he did have a name.
I think Jon Favreau did say that, but it's like whatever they name it, I think so many people are going to be like, dumb name. Like,
yeah,
we've all attached our love to this little tiny thing that.
Do you think it's better if they go with like Frank, or do you think it's better if they go with some like Y something Star Wars sounded?
I think it'll be better if they do something Star Wars sounding with a Y, just because there's Yoda and Yaddle.
Yeah,
the only two other of their species.
Yeti. He's I'm just thinking of different things. All right. This is unrelated to anything nerd, but Glenn always likes to get this from my guests. He loves to ask food related questions. So he has 4 specific food related questions that are important to him. The first one is he wants to know what your favorite meal is to have when you're feeling down.
I just like pasta. I really like Italian food.
Me too. I'm with you.
I think pizza, probably. Pizza's going to be my answer for a lot of these, I think.
Well, I don't know if it's going to be your answer for this next one, but possibly. The second part is your favorite breakfast food. Could be cold pizza.
Just eggs. I like eggs in all their forms.
Yeah, I'm not like a big breakfast person at all. But recently, because of quarantine, I've been making omelets, and I've gotten pretty good at making them. So I'll go omelets.
Are they fully loaded with things, or just kind of a simple omelet?
Depends on like if I feel like spending half an hour making one and like chopping up vegetables, and mushrooms and stuff. But usually it's just like onions and spinach and cheese.
Part 3, favorite dessert.
Either cookies or ice cream. I like both almost equally.
Yeah, I think just classic chocolate chip cookies.
And number 4, I feel like this is going to be pizza for you, Molly. I don't know for you, Alex, but your favorite late night snack.
I mean, cookies or ice cream.
Yeah, pizza or Taco Bell is normally like my go-to if we're out somewhere and we're on our way home. I'm like, let's get some Taco Bell.
Okay, then this next question is coming from Weston Ira. He says, we go all over the place on this show. He says, who are some of your favorite Instagram livers? In any order, he goes Bro Larson. Her IG live, maybe he means Brie Larson, is in a few minutes. Jen, maybe he means Sturger. Sir Patrick Stewart and his sonnets. And Carly from the WWE and Lucha Underground. Also, R.I.P. Shad. Oh, I saw this freaking story. I don't know if you guys saw this WWE superstar who was swimming with his son, and they went under the waves and they were able to rescue his son, but the superstar was missing for 2 days and he just turned up and he didn't make it. It was like a freaking horrible story with lifeguards and everything. It was just like in Venice Beach of all places, but so sad. But in terms of the favorite Instagram livers, are you guys watching anything on? Do you watch any Instagram livers?
No, not usually, but just recently, one of the improvisers at a local comedy theater that we go to and take lessons from, Lucky Yates, has been doing live Instagram shows every so often.
He's also Krieger in Archer.
Yeah, he does the voice for Krieger, and he's Atlanta native, and I don't know, like whenever he's on, I'll pop on and watch for a little bit because he's funny. But I don't know if I have the patience to like sit and watch Instagram live stuff.
I think I watched The Rock eat his cheat meal one day. That's the only time I've ever been on Instagram live.
That's a great one to watch.
That's like the most 2020 sentence ever. I imagine saying that, like if you went back to the future and you were in the, I don't know, say you're even in the 90s and you were like, yeah, I watched The Rock eat a cheat meal on Instagram live. People will be like, what does that even mean? Like what is any of that? Going back into the Patreon, Robert McNeil. Okay, Robert's got a lot for us today. Robert's got a bunch. He says, hello, Molly and Alex. And outside of your watch Alex play video game stuff, I watch and love everything you do. This is mainly because I am not a big video game person. I don't really have time to watch someone else play one, but I do have a few questions. Roxy had mentioned that she tried to get Molly to the Rockstars, but the two being Molly and Alex, not Molly and Roxy. Sorry for the infinitive and antecedent issue, but today is the last day of work and my times as an English teacher gets to go on hold for a few months. Okay, what if you don't mind divulging was the issue you two had discussed? So what I had said was, and there's way more of this still, what I had said was that what got me to stop pushing Mollie was that Mollie sent me a text being like, Alex and I have discussed this as husband and wife, and I'm not going to be playing on the same team as him. Like, it was like, this is what we're doing this is what we decided. And I was like, what am I going to do? Be like, no, what's best for your relationship is for you still to come to the Rockstars. So I think he just wants to know, like, what did you guys discuss? I'm sure that you guys talked about being on the same team, what that would mean for competition, being against each other, all that stuff.
Yeah. I mean, I think mostly it was like, we think it would be more entertaining for us and for everyone else if we were kind of on different teams. Because I know during Celebration, before my match for that, a lot of people were rooting for me to win that so that I would play him live in Chicago, and
right.
It would be like husband versus wife, a house divided.
I think that's pretty much it. We were just talking about what would be more fun to play, and we started spitballing like promo ideas, stuff that we could do here, since like for once 2 competitors are in the same place. And so we thought of like these ideas where we would be more antagonistic instead of like on the same side.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you can't fight that. Going back for a second, Garth McMurray says, I call Baby Yoda Yodi in honor of Mark Riley. I like that. All right. Sticking with Robert here. His second part is, Mollie, after you destroy Adam Witt, are you worried about Joseph Scrimshaw because he is going to destroy the Finstock Stimulanta?
Yeah. Scrimshaw scares me.
More so than anybody else in the tournament?
I don't know. I know Laura is really, really good.
Stimulanta seems like he's going to be a beast too.
Oh, yeah. I mean, both of them against me and Joseph and was that Chicago?
Yes.
Yeah. In Chicago, I was like, I think after the first round, I was like, oh no. I needed to study a lot more for this. But yeah, I don't know. Like between Demolanta and Joseph, I don't know which one I think will come out.
I mean, I think it would be foolish to underestimate anyone in the tournament.
Yeah, I agree.
But yeah, Scrimshaw is, I don't think I will ever, if he wins, I'm not going to be like, oh, Scrimshaw again, I got this. I'm going to be like, oh God, Scrimshaw again, here we go. Like he's
because it's always been just like neck and neck. And
it's
then
always neck and neck. And I always feel like he gets like a rough just draw on the questions. Like he'll get stuff that, like, I don't know. They asked an actor question once where it was clear that me and Ken and Joseph, none of us knew it, and me and Ken happened to guess right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, it happens, but like, I don't really believe in full-blown guessing because you have enough ancillary knowledge to, you know, like, there really is no just pure guessing. You're doing better guesses based on things that you know. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense at all?
Well,
when people are like, it's luck.
This question was, which Indonesian actor from The Raid played Tasu Leech in The Force Awakens? And then multiple choice was just a bunch of names that were completely
but maybe
random
in the
to
back
me.
of your head, maybe I don't know.
I do love The Raid.
There's a third part to this. Robert says, Alex, while I find it very impressive the amount of pull you have with your knowledge, does it ever bother you that the questions about the movies in the Star Wars division are not something solely based on information you can gather from only watching the movies? You have to have supplemental information, i.e. the Bubble Opera and Revenge of the Sith is never called Squid Lake, but that never appears in the film. Wow, this is so over my head. Alex, you thoughts on this?
No, it doesn't bug me at all. I feel like the more outside of the films they get, the better chance I have, because I mean, the movies are only a part of what we talk about on our YouTube channel. Like, but I also think that there needs to be a balance. And Squid Lake to me is acceptable.
Mhm.
The names of species that appear in the movies, like Gamorrean guards, are never mentioned by name, but I feel like it's something that if you know any amount of Star Wars trivia, you know what a Gamorrean guard is. So
Yeah.
I think
Yes,
there's a
of course.
balance to
How
be
could
had
you
there.
not know what a Gamorrean guard is? That's what I was thinking too. Totally. I should enter myself in the tournament.
Well, it's also like it's like the only way you can make these questions that much harder is to dig deeper and find stuff that maybe wasn't ever mentioned by name in the movies. So
Okay, so wait, that's not the one I meant to put up. Let's go to this guy, Teth Adam. Teth Adam for the last 15 minutes has been asking about the Snyder cut in like just the most ridiculous manner. He's upset with me apparently because he says that he's tired of people jumping on Snyder's nuts when they were once denouncing him. And he says, didn't you say that the Snyder cut wasn't real? I don't know if this happens to you guys with Star Wars stuff, but I am a DC person. You know, like I host DC movie news. I'm obsessed with DC. What I lack in Star Wars knowledge, I make up for on the DC nerd camp. But
Yeah, let's flip the tables here.
yeah, we'll flip it for a second because of course we're talking about this today. But when you do a show every single week and you are commenting on things live, you're commenting on the information that's coming out at that time. So yes, that is accurate that 2+ years ago, I did not believe a Snyder cut existed. I didn't think it existed. There was no proof or evidence that it did. Snyder wasn't speaking about there being a Snyder cut. It was just fans who were saying, release the Snyder cut. And I found it rather entitled that after a movie is released, for fans to demand and petition to be like, release the Snyder cut. We will not support you if you don't. I don't think that that's the nicest thing to do. After one version of a movie is released, it's the studio and the director's jobs to figure out which version is released, and you cannot like the movie, but to be so entitled right afterwards to be like, I deserve this other cut of the movie, that didn't sit well with me. I'm a huge DC fan, and I hate when people feel like because they've watched something, they somehow have earned the right to take ownership of the movie. Other people have put years and years of their life into it. So yes, at the time, before Snyder had spoken about it, before we knew there was a Snyder cut, which we've known for years. Now we've known for over a year that there is a Snyder cut. Momoa's talked about seeing it. Affleck's talked about it. Ray Fisher's talked about it. There's no denying it. There's a Snyder cut. And so, yes, if you look at footage of me from 2 years ago, I did say, I don't believe this cut exists. And I did say, I'm frustrated with the fans that are demanding it because it's not yours to demand. So, Teth, if that means you don't like me, that's totally your prerogative. But as you've watched, if you've seen any of my footage in the last over a year, I literally said I was wrong about the Snyder cut. It does exist. They've all confirmed it. And you know what? I think it's been a long enough time that if Snyder, who we know was really struggling when he had to leave the project, if he wants this cut to be seen, then I support that. Not because the fans demand it, but because he's an artist. And if he wants his work out there, then I want that for him. And I think that that's totally valid. So I'm actually pretty excited that we got the announcement today that because it's been on, off, that the Snyder cut is being released. I'm happy for the actors. All were on board. They all wanted the Snyder cut to be seen. The director wanted it to be seen. And now in 2021 with HBO Max needing some love and buzz during this time because we're not shooting any new things right now, I think it's freaking great. And also, like, people are allowed to change their mind. I think the internet needs to be like a little kinder about things like that. But what do you guys think? I know this isn't exactly your fandom. Any thoughts on the Snyder cut at all, though?
I mean, I agree with you. Like, this happens in Star Wars fandom too. People taking ownership of the movies and feeling entitled for them to be a certain way or for certain characters to be handled in a certain way, like especially because of the circumstances of why Snyder had to back out in the first place, for them to like demand the Snyder cut. It's like it's just,
like, he's dealing with a tragedy.
Yeah,
at
it's
that
not
moment.
Right.
It's like terrible manners, first of all. But I don't know. I'm glad to know that it exists, because I didn't know it was a thing until today.
Which makes sense, because it's not something that you're following day in and day out. But actually, to add to it, because you didn't know, the fans of the Snyder Cut, I will say, have done some pretty incredible things. They started a massive, I don't remember if there was a GoFundMe, but one of those things for suicide prevention. And they raised hundreds of thousands of dollars to try to get the Snyder Cut released, donating those funds to suicide prevention. And, I think that anytime that you can take something that you want in art, but you're also doing something for a good cause, then I'm on your team. You've got me. When they started doing that, that's when I started being like, okay, so these fans are trying to do something good, and that's all we can really do during this time. So I think that's when it became something that was on a lot of people's radar, and like Subway, I believe, was matching any of they were doing something with it as well. So we're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars that were raised from Release the Snyder Cut. So that's pretty incredible. Alex, What are your thoughts? Snyder Cut, excited to see it. Did you know it existed?
I had seen the hashtag around, and that was kind of as far as I got into that investigation. Like, I guess I knew the basics of that. Supposedly there were all these other plot elements that were abandoned for the movie. I don't know what they were. I didn't know if that was true or not. I still don't. But I saw the announcement. I was kind of like, oh, like I'll watch it. Yeah. I'm interested.
Yeah. The other aspect of this that, like, is semantics kind of, but when we say release the Snyder Cut, clearly the fact that they're announcing that this is now coming in 2021, if there was and that they're needing tens of millions of dollars to complete the movie. If there was a completed Snyder Cut right now, they would air it, because HBO Max needs the content. They lost the Friends reunion, which was one of the biggest selling points. They didn't lose it completely, but they couldn't shoot it because of COVID. So that's getting pushed till probably Thanksgiving. And they need content now, but they can't drop it because it's not ready to be seen. Mm-hmm. So semantically speaking, is that even terms? Whatever, you know what I mean? If there was a Snyder Cut, if there was a full Snyder Cut, then we would just see it right now. But there's obviously not. There's a Snyder draft.
Yeah,
there's a Snyder in progress.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, okay. Mayra M says, I totally agree with you, Roxy. Thanks for the love, guys. Yeah. Look at him go. Again, you're wrong, Roxy. Snyder wants to film more stuff. He couldn't, because he no longer has to work with Jeff Johns. He has full creative control. So there isn't a completed Snyder Cut yet. There will be. Oh man, you're like a tough kind of person, because what do you want from me? I'm sure this happens to you guys on your channel too, but it's like, what do you want? What are you looking for? Going back to Star Wars lore for a second, Johnny 5 for Life in the Streamlabs said, if you want the internet not to be upset at the name of the child, they should name him Keanu, after the internet's favorite person. How do you guys feel if they name him Keanu? How would that go over?
That would be hilarious.
I'd be like, that's dumb, but I would laugh at it. Yeah. That's the thing about Star Wars, I think, is that even when something that I think is dumb happens, give it enough time and I'll be on board with it.
It's kind of like how we felt about the prequels when we first saw them at the age that we were kind of like, we didn't think they were dumb, but we were like,
I was all on board with the prequels. I was 12.
Certain aspects of it, like, people thought it was silly, but then
as time went on,
you're like, no, these are good movies.
Or I was going to suggest like the holiday special is one of the most derided things in all of Star Wars fandom. But then
It's
the
so
Mandalorian
great.
during production started to release things like the
rifle,
the disruptor, yeah,
the pulse
Oh,
rifle.
like little Easter eggs.
right. And people lost their minds. They're like,
Right.
it's that thing from that other thing that we supposedly hate. Like, no, everyone's excited about it. And
That
like,
is funny how that works.
yeah, give it enough time and people will be like, yeah, whatever. I accept it as part of this universe. And it's not something I'm going to watch every day, but it's around. And it's
Don't you feel like that's kind of what's happening with Cats right now? The musical.
Man. I felt so bad for just everyone involved with that movie. We still haven't seen it.
Yeah.
But
wow, you guys got to get on it. Another one coming in, Stylin' Moose. I love that handle. Stylin' Moose. Hell yeah. Says, who do you believe will win today's Star Wars match? Okay, so we've got Quevedo versus Ace. Obviously, Alex's answer is Quevedo. Faction mate Quevedo. Right, Alex?
Yeah. I mean, well, I have not seen him play. I've only seen Ace play, and I know he was on Jedi Council. So I have more information on Ace, but based on what you said about him, yeah.
Yeah, based on what you've said about him, I hope he wins because I'm curious to see him play and just like his whole attitude towards
his vibe.
Yeah,
I think he's going to be well liked. I do think so because he's an interesting cat for sure. I hope he manages to, because there's got to be a learning curve in your first match. Mm-hmm. And even though this is for Ace's first Star Wars, Ace has competed before. This is Quevedo's first match ever. So I'm just trying. He seems very calm, but I know things can get completely different. And I said this on Backstage also, but he's asking so many tech questions to me. He's like, so how does this aspect of Twitch work? And I'm like, we really don't have to know that. Fortunately, we've got people in production for that. And he's like, yeah, but I just like to know. I'm very curious. Like, what's the wheel going to look like? I'm like, again, like it's going to look the same for both people. So all we need to know is that it's going to have the categories. But he's very concerned about the tech. And so I think it's hard enough to have your first match and then have your first match be the first match we're ever doing on Twitch. Mm-hmm. You have to think that something's going to go wrong at some point. Right?
Yeah, I'm very relieved to know that there's going to be a match before mine because I'm excited to see what the wheel looks like and just get a feel for the format.
I will say for Ace, though, I do think that it's different per league. I think it's good that he has a game under his belt, but I mean, I think there was a learning curve for me playing my first IG match a couple months back. It was different. Like, and I was like, Roxy, I've never had to worry about the wheel before. What do I do?
I know. But you know, you pulled through. So we'll see. But I definitely, my money's on our boy, Josh. We'll see what he can do. Christian gave him a nickname already. He gave him the name, the Jester. So Josh, the Jester, we'll see how he pulls through. Mira M says, you can't win with stands, so it's better to not engage. No, I like to engage with everybody who's passionate. That's the thing. Like anybody who loves something so much, there's hope because there's love in your heart. But, you know, be kind to people. Speaking of love in people's hearts and being kind to people, I know we don't have much time left, but I do want to talk about this Ruby Rose situation because this is wild. And I know that you guys, again, going back to the DC camp, this might not be your thing, but it's kind of crossing over to everybody who is a pop culture fan because this might be the biggest recasting in TV history. For anybody who doesn't know, Ruby Rose has been playing Batwoman for a full season, but she also has made appearances on the other DC TV shows. You know, we've got, there's been a ton of things in the DC TV universe, but with Crisis, she's been with Flash and Arrow and Supergirl and all the other major DC TV characters. And now after one season, the show has announced it will be continuing, but she will not be a part of it. And they are recasting the Batwoman character with another up and coming actress. They have not said who it is. They don't know who it is. But they said that that actress will be an unknown and will be a member of the LGBTQ plus community, because that was a very big deal with the initial casting as well, and is important for the character of Batwoman. Mm-hmm. But in general, thoughts on the fact that the titular character of a DC, one of the biggest DC TV shows, is leaving after first season. Do you guys think it would have been better to end the series? Do you think that it should be addressed on air? Do you think they should try to make a joke out of it like they did with Aunt Viv, Fresh Prince style? What are your thoughts?
I don't know. This feels like something to me, like something maybe really bad might have happened, and like between her and the production team, and maybe she just was like, I'm out, or I don't know if that was like a decision on her part, or
it seems like it.
Yeah.
It's something I hadn't thought about. Like Roxy, you mentioned it before the show, just like what kind of contract would even allow for that? That they're, I assume there would have been a multi-year contract that they're either letting her out of, or maybe it's the studio's decision and maybe they had language that allowed them to cancel it.
Yeah, that's an interesting thought.
It could be they're saying like, it's all right. Like Ruby, you can say that it's your choice, but I don't know. I mean,
Stephen Amell who played Arrow, obviously was very vocal towards the end of his contract that he had no rights. He was like, I'm very lucky because I loved playing Arrow, but every year it was like, are we picked up or not? And he had no say in if he came back. If they were picked up, he was back. That was the contract. So what you just said, Alex, it might be pretty close to the truth. Again, this is all speculation. We don't know, but I would highly doubt that this would be a decision that she was allowed to make without the studio's permission, because I can't imagine after they've done, I think we're on our 9th DC TV show, including Black Lightning, iZombie. I mean, with all the CW shows, there's just been so many that they would be like, yeah, we're just going to sign her to 1 year. We don't know what's going to happen. They've done this too many times. To be like, we'll just sign a 1-year contract. There must have been some kind of agreement on their end to let her go, or them wanting her to go for some reason. But another thing that was strange about this is she was pretty badly injured last year. She had to have surgery, I believe, and her disc, her back. And there was talks then about whether or not she'd be able to continue with the show because of the injury and it being such a physical character. Mm-hmm. But in her statement, or in the press release, a source close to her made a point to say this has nothing to do with the injury, which is kind of strange, because it's like you would think maybe they would want to kind of blame it on that, but to just put out all their cards and say this has nothing to do with that, it's like, so what does it have to do with? Do you guys think, if you had to guess, that we're going to hear more on what happened, or do you think this will kind of stay quiet and the viewers will be left guessing for a while?
I would guess that if we heard more, I probably won't learn about it.
I'll text you. I'll keep you guys posted.
Yeah, it'd probably be like years down the line. Like, I don't know, recently, because Star Wars, Josh Trank started talking about like his experience leaving. He was supposed to do a Boba Fett movie, and then he got fired like right before Star Wars Celebration, when they were going to announce it, and they like had to kind of scramble and announce something else. And that's when I think they talked about Solo. But now, I don't know, 5 years later, he's kind of talking about his side of it. So maybe in 4 years.
Yeah, it's a long time, but yeah, I think it'll be something that'll stay quiet for now.
What do you guys think about the fact that they are recasting and not just having the show go away? Do you think that has potential to work?
I mean, yeah, as long as the fans of the show like it enough. And it's not fair because one person wanted to leave, like all these other people don't have jobs now. I think it's fine that it goes on, but I mean, I'm not in the trenches there on the DC show fandom, so I'm speaking as a complete outsider where I'm like, yeah, of course it's fine.
Yeah,
Right.
I don't know how successful the show is. I'm assuming fairly successful. And like, I love Ruby Rose, and I probably should watch the first season because I like her so much. But I think the show will be fine. The fans might be really upset, but they'll still watch it.
I do too. I think that if it wasn't a DC show, then maybe not. But because it has the backing of DC and it, the title is more famous than anything else. Batwoman in any of these shows, the most famous part of it, in Ruby Rose is pretty famous, but the most famous part is the character. So I think it will be okay. The other speculation that people are having, and I see people are talking about this in the chat, so it's worth mentioning, is that initially when Ruby Rose was cast, there was this whole debacle of the internet, being the internet, saying that she was not queer enough for a queer role. And she had to come out and say, I am queer. I don't know what queer enough means. So, like, I don't even know how to respond to this. And I have to get off Twitter because I've been out since I was a young teenager, and I don't even know what you guys want from me. Like,
and I'm sure there was the opposite side of people yelling that she was queer at all.
Yeah, like, of course.
Both sides.
And that's what she said. She was like, I'm most upset that my own community is upset with this casting because like, I'm queer. What do you guys want? So from the day she was cast, she had extreme backlash, which I always thought was ridiculous and so unwarranted. And I'm also a huge fan of hers from Orange is the New Black and other things. I just think she's incredible. But I wonder if there was tension always, because I know she talked a lot about like then having to prove herself in this role and having to take on more of the physical fight choreography because she wanted to show that she could do all of the things. And I wonder just if the network and the actress decided that it wasn't a good fit based on the fans, based on the cruelty of people, all speculation, but I wonder if any of that played into it. Crazy to think about, but
yeah.
Crazy. I know we have to get out of here, but I'm taking this last Streamlabs coming from Glenn. He does say, happy Wednesday, Roxy, Molly, and Alex. It was great having you guys live at the Roxy. Thanks for joining Roxy and virtually hanging out with us today. Although Molly chose the usual suspects in the MTS, it's still pretty cool having you both in the Rock Stars band. Very sweet message. Nice. What a nice thing to say. Yes, there we go. I just refreshed and that was the end of it. No question from him. He just wanted to let us know, which is very sweet. Guys, I know you are all over the interwebs and you have matches coming up, both of you guys in all different places, but where can everybody find you and all the things you're doing? I also think you have a Lego stream situation going on. So where are all the places?
Yeah, our YouTube channel is Star Wars Explained. Our Twitter is at Star Wars Explain.
It's right there.
Our Instagram is Star Wars Explained, and yeah,
it's right down here.
Yeah, right. And we'll be we'll be watching the Twitch stream in about an hour.
Yes.
The match. I don't know if we'll be in the chat or not, or just letting you study.
We'll be lurking.
And then at around 7 in our time, in like 2-ish hours, we will be streaming. Just to hang out while we build some Legos.
Yeah. And I'm like on the fence on whether or not to have people quiz me on the live stream because I don't want Adam watching it.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm not your manager, but I don't think you should. You don't want anybody to know where the weaknesses lie or the strengths or any of that. Sean Sullivan says, "Join the chat, Alex." Okay.
You should be studying, Sean. I can chat. I don't have a match coming up.
Good point. Their child's name is Star Wars Explained. That is true. If we name the child Star Wars Explained, then you guys will know that it's coming right from you. All right, guys, we are getting out of here. Round of applause at home for Alex and Mollie Damon. Woo!
Thanks for having us.
Alex, you are a true rock star. And Molly, I have to say you are too. You really are. You're not with us, but you are an absolute rock star. Thank you guys for being here today. Tomorrow, 1 p.m., Ben Goddard in the house. I know he's been doing his fair share of IG studying too, so we'll check in. I'll see if I can get some dirt on him for you, Alex. Just see what's going on. Thank you guys for joining us. Thank you guys at home for watching. Don't forget, in an hour, 3 p.m. on Twitch. I've never used Twitch, so I don't even know how to tell people to go to it. I think you download the app, right?
You can go on the browser as well, but yeah, It's on an app. You can cast it through Chromecast. There's all kinds of ways you can watch.
Yeah.
So you have no excuse. Alex basically just said you can watch anywhere. So check it out. Put out that good energy for our boy Josh Quevedo. I'm telling you, you guys are going to love him. So I'll see you guys in an hour there, and also tomorrow here live at the Roxy. Thank you guys again. You're amazing. Talk soon.
See ya.